Hey guys, what's up? It is Jaxie, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to completely build and decorate a secret base with loads of redstone contraptions in it. So let's go and have a look. Just outside of our secret base area, we have this beautiful farmhouse, which is designed by Wild, and she's done a tutorial on it on the channel, so the link for that will be in the description down below. But this is a perfect hidden way of hiding this diamond hoe in the chest here, because it seems fully natural. But what this diamond hoe is actually the key to our secret base. If I walk over here and hoe this block right here, my door will open. Isn't that just so sick? And then this block here will be converted back to dirt, and then will turn into grass. Then we can walk in, stand on this pressure plate, which will close the door behind me, leaving it completely flush. So if I just hop into spectator mode and go outside, you can see the door is completely flush from the outside. And then when I enter in here, we have this wonderful design, and we have a Wild, because Wild is going to be helping me with this tutorial. So this base here has everything you will need in your survival secret base, filled with redstone contraptions, all sorts of crafting tables, and all sorts of storage and farms.
And JJ and I will both be showing you how to build all of the redstone that's in this base, as well as how to decorate it, so you will have a fully finished survival base with everything you need.
We have lots of different little areas. We've got a little sort of loom and mapping area with brewing stands for your potion needs. We have a crafting area up on this other side with some smithing tables and grindstones and anvils. We have all the storage you'll need. We have these auto smelters, auto smokers. We have this awesome semi-hidden enchanting area, which allows you to get max level enchantments while remaining reasonably hidden, and it's just a little bit fancy. We have two farms over here. We have a sheep crusher and a cow crusher. And if you don't know how these farms work, they're super simple. All you have to do is press the button and right click down with wheat, and you'll breed the mobs, and then they'll end up crushing each other because there are so many in there. And all of your drops will be delivered down into these chests here. And we have cow and sheep, so the sheep will give us wool and food. The cows will give us food and leather. Then on this wall here, we have our bamboo and sugarcane, and we have two spots for farming up the top here. You can have wheat, potatoes, carrots, whatever you want. You could even alter it a little bit to have pumpkins or melons. And one of my personal favorite redstone contraptions is this secret chest. Place a lever up here, flick it, and we have a secret storage for all of your rare items, like your netherite helmets, diamonds, nether stars, etc. You've got a double chest full of space here. Then you can just break this lever and it will close up, and no one will know it was there.
Now, the materials you'll need for this entire build are on your screen now. That'll include all of the redstone supplies, as well as the supplies for decorating. Keep in mind that the supplies for each redstone contraption will come up on your screen as you get closer to building that build. But that does not mean you need to grab those again. That's all included in this original list.
Yep, so grab those materials and let's get going. Alright, for this first bit of redstoning, we're going to be working on the door that uses a hoe switch. So grab all the materials that are on your screen now, and we can get building. Let's start by digging our 2-high door. Then inside we're going to dig 7 blocks to the right and 2 blocks to the left. We're going to dig a total of 5 blocks back and 4 blocks high. So we should have this rectangle with a door that is very, very off-centered. Let's come back out to the front and count 4 blocks over from our door. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to break this block here, and then we're going to be placing a sticky piston facing outwards like that. Then dig 2 blocks down and place a redstone torch on this block wall here. Should be opposite from the piston. Then dig 2 blocks in towards the sticky piston. Place a redstone dust and then a repeater like this. Now we're going to go over to the inside, and behind the sticky piston we're going to be placing a redstone torch. Place a block over this redstone torch here. It needs to be a block that can be hoed like grass or dirt. And then place your wall block on the sticky piston. Now you can use a block that is out of place so you don't lose this just temporarily while we're working on the door, like warped planks, but in the end we will have something like stone there. Now if we hoe this block here, you notice it will destroy it and turn it back into dirt, which is exactly what we want and shows that our system is working. On the inside, we're going to go to the left of this torch here, facing this way with 2 pieces of redstone. Come back towards that torch with 2 blocks and a redstone on top of that and a repeater. Then place 1 temporary block here and a dropper. Make sure it's a dropper facing upwards. Break that temporary block. Place another dropper on top of that, facing towards the back like this. Then using temporary blocks, come 1 diagonally down and place a dropper facing towards the front. So it should be facing back into this first dropper. Now, place a hopper here on top of this dropper. Lots of hoppers and droppers here. And then place a block, any sort of item or anything into that item hopper, just 1. Now, place a block here on the ground. So it's aligned with this hopper and dropper. Then come 1 diagonally up and 1 towards the front. Place a comparator coming out of the dropper that should be turned on instantly with a piece of redstone dust and a repeater. Now we're going to be grabbing some building blocks and we're going to come 2 across like this. Then now this block here, we're going to be able to be seen. So we want to place like say stone or any sort of block. You can come and change this later, but remember to replace the redstone that we're going to be placing on top of this. So I'm going to use stone right now, but we may decorate this differently later. Then come 2 more across, so we have a total of 5, and this center one should be a pretty block, or if you don't care, you can just have any sort of block there. Then come towards the front. Now place a repeater right before the corner, set that to 2 ticks delay, and then place redstone on all of the other blocks. Just like this. This is what we should have. To make sure our system is working so far, come out to the front and hoe this block here. If it's all working perfectly, the redstone at the top here should be turned off. Then if we hoe that again, it'll get turned on, and it does. Now, with the redstone turned on, we're going to be placing 2 pistons here and here, and 2 more directly on top of each other. Make sure they're all sticky. Then, we're going to be placing a piston here, should be turned on, and a piston here. These should cover up your door like this, and you should be able to place 2 surface blocks there. And your door should be completely hidden now, and if you grab a hoe, and go ahead and hoe this block here, we have our door working. Well, from the outside at least. We still got to set up a pressure plate to close it from the inside. Alright, so aligned with our doorway, sort of hallway that we're going to be constructing, we're going to walk straight through and break these 2 blocks here. Then we're going to dig 2 blocks down like this and place a redstone. Now we want to connect this redstone up to this piece of redstone here. So we're going to have to dig into these walls a little bit and come all the way down and dig right across. And we've got our redstone here and we're going to bring it along, bring it up and then to there. Now we can cover this up and place a pressure plate on it. Now I'm using granite here, but again, if you're using a nicer, say a wood hallway, wood planks, we would use wood planks here. Again, you can change this later, just remember to add your pressure plate back. If I stand on this, my door closes and opens. So that is the redstoning of the door complete. So let's get on to clearing out the space for the base so we can work on some more of the redstoning. From our 1 block where our pressure plate is, we're going to dig back another 2 blocks, so 1, 2. Then we're going to dig 1 block down and we're going to dig out a massive space like this. We're going to dig 15 blocks to our left and our right, so we have a total of 31. We're going to dig 17 blocks back and a total of 8 up, and it should be all 1 block down compared to this, so we should have a little step up like that. So this space is now dug out, but it isn't looking like a base. So we've got a wild standing in the corner just waiting for her moment to build. So we're going to hand it over to her and we can get placing in some floors.
Now before we start filling the space up with walls, we need to put in the floor, and that's going to help us with the layout of our base. We're going to start by coming to this doorway and breaking out the hole. Make sure you pick up your pressure plate, as we'll need to place that back in afterwards. I'll be filling this in with some oak planks, and then I'll place back in my pressure plate. And we can check that the door is still working. And it is, perfect. Then we'll count out another 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go 7 blocks too deep all the way across. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there we go. And I've got that on the other side. Perfect. Then I'm going to come one block in on a diagonal and place in a stripped oak log like this. And then we'll join up these 2 points. Perfect. Now we'll continue with these stripped oak logs and we're going to go 9 blocks back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and finish with another upright log. And if you can see, we can place 2 more planks here and there should be a 1 block gap before we hit the wall. Now we're going to finish this square by going in with some more logs, going 2 blocks deep with these planks. And then on either side, we're going to connect up these planks with another row of planks. We should be left with a square that looks like this. Now the 2 sides of this build are symmetrical. We're going to be creating little alcoves, which we will then box in later. So we're going to start with the floor. We're going to grab some stripped oak logs and go all the way across. There we go, like that. Then we've got to find the center block here. And you can mark that with a placeholder block and count 2 to one side, and on the 3rd block mark in with a placeholder. And I'm going to put a row of these placeholder blocks in so it makes it easier to place in my logs. Then I'll go 5 across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way back. And last row. There we go, and you can break those placeholder blocks. Now you should have a 5 wide section that is centered on this part of the build. Now we have a base layout for our base created, and you can see we've got these 4 sections that we'll be creating walls around later. These sections here where the floor is 1 away from the wall, we'll be placing in a wall like this, and then we can pass over to JJ and he's going to create some awesome redstone contraptions within this space.
So the materials you will need for the enchanting section, which is the next bit of redstoning we're doing, will appear on your screen now. Grab all of those and we can get going. So in this empty space here, we're going to be putting in a semi-hidden enchanting area. So we're going to come to the center here. We'll find it there, just like that. And we're going to be digging 3 blocks down. 1, 2, 3. Then create a plus by digging 2 out to each side. And then we want to connect the corners of that plus by digging them out to create this cube. We have a 5x5 cube that is 3 deep. May need to move your torches just because it'll get a bit dark. There we go. In the center of this 5x5 hole, we're going to be placing a block with a piece of redstone on top. Then on the side that is closest to the door, we're going to call that the front side. We're going to be placing a repeater going into this block. Then on the left and right, place a repeater coming out of the block. Then place a block in front of those 2 repeaters with redstone dust to either side. Now we're going to go ahead and place blocks here and here. Place sticky pistons on all of those blocks like this. Then while holding shift, place them on top of these repeaters. This is what it should look like. If we get a lever and power this repeater, all of our sticky pistons should turn on and also turn off like this. Place a redstone torch on this wall here. It should power all of these sticky pistons. Place a block above, break the block, not place, above that redstone torch. Place redstone. Then we want to break these 2 blocks here and bring this redstone up 1 layer. Now when we have a floor block here, which we will in very soon, this is where we're going to be placing our lever to lower all the blocks around to allow us to enchant. Now we're going to be placing a ring of oak planks just around this hole like this, and we're also going to be placing an enchantment table in the center. We're going to be surrounding that enchantment table with stairs, which Wild is doing now, and then placing blocks in the corner to get this pretty design. Then in this remaining hole, we're going to be placing bookshelves, which actually blend in perfectly with the oak planks. Then we will fill in the rest of this floor with oak planks, just like that, and break these few odd torches we have, and we may need to place them back. So this is what it should look like. If we grab a lever out of our inventory, place it down on this block here and flick it, our enchanting station opens, and that just looks so sick. Now we're going to hand it back over to Wild, and she's going to add in a few more walls.
The next set of redstone farms is going on this right hand side of the build, so that's where we're going to start putting in our walls. I'm going to start by building up 3 high, 1, 2, 3 with some stripped spruce logs. I'm then going to count over 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the 6th block, I'll place a dirt block as a placeholder. Then I'll come up another 3 blocks. Now, you can use any material here. We're going to be filling in some walls around this section, so this space will be left empty, and you can fill in the space with dirt, but it's also useful just to have a block to place in your other blocks on top of. And we're going to do this on both sides here. Now we're going to create the design for the wall. I'm placing in 2 stairs like this and like that, and then a stone brick in between them. Then I'm going to come 2 up with some stone brick, place in a right way up stair facing in on either side, and then a chiseled stone brick in the center. We're going to come behind now and fill in this gap across the top. We're going to go 3 across here, and then we'll come down 2 blocks like this to create a little T shape behind. Next, I'm going to place in 3 stone brick in a circle like this to kind of encapsulate the space, and we've got our 2 spaces in now for our farms. Oh, and 1 more block there. There we go.
Okay, so the materials you'll need for the cow and sheep crushers will appear on your screen now, so grab all of those and we can get going. So we're going to be building 2 crushers, a sheep and a cow crusher. So we want to start by placing a button on this top block here. You want to do the same thing on both sides. So whatever I build on one side, you also want to replicate it on the other side. Then come behind it like this and place a redstone torch on this block here of this T. Then come 2 blocks out, break that first block and place a piece of redstone dust. Place a redstone torch, then a redstone dust on the ground like that. Then come down here, break 1 block down and place a dispenser, just like that. So the dispenser is facing towards the wall here near the floor. You may need to break this block to just get out of it, but you can just simply put that stripped oak log back in like this. When you press this button, you should hear your dispenser fire, or if you don't have sound stand on, just chuck a block in the dispenser and it should throw it out. We want to place water buckets in both of these dispensers like this, and then we want to dig 3 blocks down on these 2 blocks here. 1 more down there, Wild. Yeah, 3. There we go. And then we want to dig a 3rd block here as well. That is, so we've got 3 blocks down going 3 across. So we want to place a double chest in like this and a hopper going into that double chest. We're going to leave this open for Wild to decorate. And there we have our functioning farm. Now, there is an option of placing a fence or a stone pillar. A lot of people like to do this with cow farms so they don't fall in, but you don't have to place this here, and it looks quite nice without it.
To begin decorating this, we're going to take some oak stairs. You'll need to come inside your little section here and place one in upside down, so that way from the outside it looks like a solid block. And I'm doing this on either side. Then I'm going to take some oak planks and break 2 blocks down to fill in around this chest. It just gives it a more clean, finished look when you look inside. While we're here, we'll place in some ladders so if you fall into these holes you can climb back out, and above that we'll place in an oak trapdoor. I've got my oak trapdoors so they flick the same way, but if they're going different ways it doesn't really matter. Then we'll place in a stripped oak log so it's going in the same direction as the floor. Now I've done this, and so did JJ, by holding shift and clicking on the trapdoor, but if you're having trouble with that, you can always place in a placeholder block here and click on that and then break the placeholder block. The next step we need to do is fix up these chambers. So I'm going to just be breaking these 2 stone blocks and replacing them with some stone brick. And JJ's done that on that side as well. Now to label these farms, I'm going to place a glow item frame above each, and then I'm going to add in steak on one side and some cooked mutton on the other. And there we go. We've got our farms ready to start breeding our animals.
Okay, to get these farms going, we need to get 2 of each mob into these chambers. So we're going to get 2 cows in here, I'm going to spawn them in, and then 2 sheep in here. Now of course you're going to bring them in with a leash, because if you have eggs, then in survival spawn eggs, well, congratulations. I have no idea how you got those, but good on ya. But yeah, so you want to get 2 of each mob in here, then you want to press this button and start breeding them. For both of these you'll be using wheat, and then once you've bred enough of them, they'll start crushing each other and your drops will end up in these chests like this. As you can see, they'll pop up in here. Let's hand it over to Wild now to do some more walls.
Okay, to start these walls, we're going to be creating some spruce framing, and we're using some stripped spruce logs for this. We'll start by building up these posts to the height of the roof, like this. Then we're going to match this framing on the other side, so you can line yourself up with those posts, and we'll be placing them on top of these oak logs here. We'll then count across 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th block place in a dirt block and then build all the way up with the spruce logs. Now we're going to come to here and count 3 blocks across, 1, 2, 3, to put in another post. We'll do another group of 3, 1, 2, 3, this time coming in towards the center of the build, and we'll do this on either side. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. And we've done this on the back half of the build as well. Now these sections should be the same size on either side, and we should have 3 wide sections flanking on either side as well. Now we're going to grab some spruce planks for the next part. We're going to come and create a little L shape like this, sitting one behind the spruce. And we're doing this on both sides again, and we'll add 2 blocks on top of each of these sections. So our sections should be 3 high in total. I'm also going to take some stripped oak logs, and I'll be placing them in to fill in this gap here. There we go, our floor is filled in. I'm going to come over and fill in 2 3x3 sections with some spruce planks. Just like that. And then above that, I'm going to be placing in some spruce stairs placed upside down so they create a little lip. And we'll do that on that side too. We're also going to be placing in some upside down stairs around these sections, filling in both sides of these walls like this. And you can see the shape of the secret base is really starting to come together now. In fact, we can start adding in some of our other walls as well. We're going to grab some of these stone bricks and go all the way along this front wall where the door is. Now you can fill in behind these posts or leave them empty to save on supplies, but if you are going to leave them empty like this, I recommend placing in a torch so you don't have mobs spawning in that gap. We're going to fill in this largest section with some stone bricks. It's going to start getting a little bit dark here, so you'll want to be adding in lots of torches as you go, and then we'll be adding in some built lighting as we get to the decorating stage. I'm also going to grab some moss blocks now and fill in these 3 wide sections. Again, we'll be breaking out to add in some frog lights a little bit later, but just fill in the whole section for now. Next, on this wall that is at the back when you walk in, we're going to come to the left-hand side, place in 3 stone brick, and then fill in the rest of the wall with moss blocks. We're going to be adding in a little smelter here, so we might need to break out a few blocks, but by placing in the wall, we have a good base to build on. Now I'm going to pass over to JJ, and he's going to be adding in a super smelter over here in this space.
The materials you'll need for this super smelter will appear on your screen now, so grab all of those and we can get going. So with this smelter, we want to dig out a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 long hole like this that should sit between the 2 poles. So we want to dig that 5 blocks up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then plus this one at the bottom 5, so it's a total of 5. Dig this right out. Now once we've done this, we want to replace all these backing blocks with stone bricks like this. And then once we've done that, we also want to replace the floor blocks here and place them in coming one forward, and these blocks on the side as well coming up.
We need to do this because these sections will be visible through the hoppers and other blocks as they don't take up a full block space, and it just gives a cleaner look to the build.
Exactly. Now we're going to be placing a row of double chests in on their side like this, with hoppers going into the back of them. Just like that. On top of these hoppers, place furnaces. You can place smokers in here or blast furnaces, but I recommend just regular furnaces because it allows you to use them for whatever you want. On the face of these furnaces, place hoppers, and then while holding shift, place chests on each of these hoppers, and they should create single chests like this. Then go ahead and grab yourself some more hoppers, place them on the roof or the top of these furnaces with some double chests like we did along the bottom. Just like this. This last one can be a little bit trickier to place, so jump up and place it. Now we need to label all of these chests because there's a whole lot of chests and you don't know what goes in what. Starting at the top on this side here, place in some raw iron. In the center, place in some coal, and at the bottom, place an iron ingot. Now you don't actually have to smelt raw iron in here. You can you can smelt whatever you want, but this is just a good sort of visual representation of what goes where. But you can put, say, raw chicken at the top, and you'll come with cooked chicken at the bottom. It's up to you. Now we're handing it over to Wild.
To begin our decorations, I'm going to grab some stone brick stairs, and I'm running these along the back here to fill in the gap. I'll also run some stone brick stairs facing the other direction. Because we're using stairs here, we can still open these blocks, but it looks like a solid block from the front. I'll then fill in the gap above using some stone bricks, and we have a flat wall to work with. We'll be adding some decorations to this wall a little bit later. While we're here, we're going to go across the top with some strip spruce logs, and we're going to create these beams in between each post, connecting up all the way around the outline of the build, and then we'll be adding some beams to the ceiling as well. There we go, we're all the way around. We're going to go all the way across these two larger beams, connecting these posts, and then these two smaller beams here on either side. Then we'll run across the other way across the length of the roof, connecting everything up. So you should be left with a panelled roof design like this. Now I need to add some decoration and definition to these beams. I'm going to be placing in a stair underneath each of these joins like this. All the way around the build, and there we go. One more. Then I'll be placing a trapdoor below and above it. You can see this is creating little arch shapes on each corner. And I think we've got all of them covered now. I'll also be placing a trapdoor on each of the joins in the beams, and one over here. There we go. And now we need to start adding in some lighting and the roof of this build. So in each of these 3x3 sections, I'm going to add in an ochre frog light. Then I'll surround it with some stone slabs. Now, if you don't have ochre frog lights, you could use another color of frog light, you could use some glowstone, or you could even hang down a chain with a lantern. It's up to you. There we go, all those spaces are filled in. In these two larger sections at the front and the back, I'm going to place in another frog light and fill in around with some slabs. And then these sections to the sides, I'll just be filling in with slabs. There we go, and all those sections are complete. Now we're just left with this main section in the center of the build. So you want to make sure that the very center of this section has got stone. Mine already has that block, but you might need to replace yours. I'm then going to fill in the whole space around that with some slabs. There we go. I'll then hang 2 chains down from here and a frog light off of that. Then I'll come out on all 4 sides with a spruce fence and place in some candles. And the wonderful JJ can light these candles for the wonderful ambiance that it will provide. Underneath that, I'm going to place in a glowberry and use some bone meal to make it grow. Now, I believe there's a trick that uses some shears to stop these growing, but I'm just going to use some string. Grab out my string, hang it underneath, and there we go. We've got a little chandelier as a feature in our build. Now we're going to start working on these 4 sections. We're going to start on these 2 here at the back first. What I'm going to do is fill in this space using some farmland. So I'm going to I'm at level with this post and fill in this way and do that on both sides like this. Now, you're going to need to place in some water here, so I'm going to be placing that above the torch, just using some farmland to act as dirt, and I'll fill in that gap with water. And then replace, oh dear, I hope I haven't broken JJ's redstoning, and fill in the rest of this with some more farmland. There we go. I'm going to do the same on this side as well. Place in my water. And of course, you can just use regular dirt and then hoe your blocks. Perfect. Now behind this, I'm going to fill in the gap with some moss. Just building all the way up to the height of the walls. And there we go. Now I'm going to put myself into my little water hole here and add in an ochre frog light above that. And then I'll fill in the roof using some stone slabs. There we go. And the same over here. Wonderful. Now, one thing you can do if you really want a clean look is you can see the very edge of the stone underneath the moss because of this farmland. So you can leave that empty, or like JJ is doing now, you can fill it in with some moss. And I'm going to do that on both sides too for a really clean finished look. Doesn't that look great? Now I'm going to add some trapdoors to finish off the edge here. And we've got 2 farm spaces. You can plant whatever you'd like in here. I think I might go with wheat and potatoes. Now we need to get up to our farm, so we need to add in a ladder. I'm going to be breaking these 2 stairs and replacing them with planks, and then underneath that I'm going to place in 3 barrels. This gives us some extra storage as well. Oh, thank you, JJ. Then I'll be adding ladders on top of this, and on the side of that I'm going to add in 3 double chests. Now you can still access these barrels by clicking in this gap here. And you can also climb up and reach your farm. I'm going to be placing in some glass panes on either side of the ladders. And now we can move on and work on these other gaps. So for here we're going to fill in the same sort of section using some oak planks. So we're just going in between the 2 posts here. So it should look like this. And then in the wall behind that I'm going to fill it in with moss blocks. There we go. For the roof in this section, I'm going to leave it at this full 3-block height. So you'll just want to replace any blocks in your roof that aren't already stone. So we'll check on that side and we're all good. We're going to add in the same ladder system to get up on this side. So I'll break this block, replace it with some spruce planks, add in my barrels, ladders, and my chests. Like this. Finally, I'm going to go in with some glass panes to fill in this gap here, and then this whole side to create 2 little rooms, but we're keeping them open enough to let lots of light in and so you can still see the rest of your base. Next, we need to fill in these 2 walls on either end. I'm going to start with this one over here in the farming section of our build. I'm going to grab some sand and place them 5 across in between these 2 posts and place some spruce trapdoors in front of that. I'll then just use any block. I'm going to use moss blocks because that's what I have in my inventory to cap off these ends and fill in this gap with water. Now you will likely see back here, so you can always replace the blocks behind the water with moss as well, but it's not critical. Next I'm going to take some spruce stairs and I'll wrap them around upside down like this, and you can just see into the water there. And then I'm going to fill in here with moss. There we go, our gap's filled in. I'm also going to be placing in a light here, so I want to line myself up with the height of where we have these trapdoors, which is here. I'll break this block, place in an oak frog light, and add in an oak trapdoor in front of that. I'm going to do this in these 2 3-wide sections as well, here and here. There we go. I'm also going to add in some more decorative lighting. I'm going to be adding in some of these spruce fences in front of these posts like this, and one here. Then I'm going to be adding candles on top of each. There we go, all of our candles are in now, and this is going to add a lovely glow to the builds. Now I'm going to hand over to JJ and he's going to add some redstone contraptions to these 2 sections.
For these 2 sections, grab these materials on your screen now for the redstoning parts of them. So to start this off, we're going to dig these 2 blocks here and place in a double chest. If you want, now is a good time to grab some oak planks and just cover up there and down below this chest here with some oak planks just to make it look nicer. You don't have to do that, but just an option. Place a hopper on top of this chest here in the center with a smoker, with a chest with a hopper coming out to the left here, with a single chest on top of that. Place a hopper on top of this smoker and then a chest on top of that. This is what it should look like. So that is this left side contraption complete. Now we've got to work on this right side, which is where a fireplace is going to be, but it's not going to be a normal fireplace. It's going to have a hidden spot to hide all of your valuables. Start by counting 4 blocks up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on that 4th block, placing a moss block with a lever on it. Then on that moss block back, we want to dig and then place a redstone torch. Dig 1 block down, place redstone dust, and bring that 1 further back into the wall. This will be covered by the fireplace, don't worry. At eye level in the center, dig 2 blocks back and place a sticky piston. It should be powered on. And then we want to place a block on right there, a stone block. Then break this block here and this block here and place a double chest like this. When you flick this lever, it should pull the block back. When you flick it again or break it, the block should be extended, which is exactly what we want. Now it's time to hand it over to Wild to decorate these 2 redstone contraptions.
Alright, let's get decorating these redstone contraptions. We're going to start with this smelter over here. I'm placing in 2 barrels to this side here. Then I'm going to be placing in some spruce stairs. I'm going to place these in upside down on this side and that side. I'm going to cover up these redstone contraptions with some spruce trapdoors like this. I'm going to go in with some stairs on either side to create a little archway. And then above this, I'm going to break into the wall, add in an oak frog light and an oak trapdoor, like that. And you can see that all of our chests still open and we can access this one at the bottom. Now one other thing you'll want to do is grab out some glow item frames and place them on these 2 chests. Now you can place a coal in this lower chest to remind you that this is where you place your fuel, and then a potato or something else up here to remind you this is where you put your input food. Now that we've done this and the chests are labelled, let's add in our fireplace. Alright, I'm over here where we've got our secret chest and we're going to hide it behind our fireplace. I'm going to start by placing in 2 stone brick stairs here and here, and then a chiseled stone brick on top of that. So we can still open our chest, I'm going to place in a mossy stone brick above it like this, and I'll do that on the other side as well. I'll then place in a stone brick underneath here, use some stairs and a block to create an archway. I can then place in my campfire and go in with some moss up the top. I'll also place in a frog light and an oak trapdoor in here, and I'm going to place in 1 more stair to complete the look of the fireplace. Next, we're going to work on decorating this section over here. For this, I'm going to start by building up 2 high with spruce planks all the way along. Then I'm going to fill in the rest with some moss blocks. There we go, like this. Now we're going to add in some chests. I'm adding in groups of double chests on either side of the center. And I'll do this in these sections, and then going up the full height of here. I'm going to stop at 1 before the top. I'm going to add in some spruce stairs to these gaps, and then some spruce trapdoors, and then I'll fill in this center section with barrels going all the way up. So it should look like this. Now, of course, we need to add some lighting in here. So I'm going to find the center of this 5x5 section, hang down 2 chains and place in an oak frog light. I'm going to surround this whole thing with some oak trapdoors. This ties it in with the other lights we've got in on the walls and makes it a little bit different to this central chandelier, making the central chandelier feel more special. I'm also going to fill in the space around this with some slabs. Just like that. I'm going to come back over to the other side of the build now, and I'm going to do a similar thing. Now you'll see here I'll need to replace this center block with stone, hang down my light, and fill in around it. While we're over here, we're going to add some arches, adding in some of these spruce stairs, trapdoors here and here. And we're going to create some little arches in this section as well. And it just gives it a more finished look. Speaking of trapdoors, I do need to go in with my oak trapdoors around this frog light. And then I can plant in my bamboo and my sugarcane. Now you could have all sugarcane or bamboo or a mixture of both depending on what you plan on using. Continuing with some lighting and decoration here, I'm going to break these 2 blocks and place in some frog lights, and then I'll go in with some yellow carpet over the top. I'll be using yellow throughout this build, but you could use whatever color you'd like. I'm going to be placing in some coarse dirt here and here and grabbing some trapdoors and surrounding it like this. These will be some planters for later. I'm going to create matching planters on this side of the build as well. There we go. I'm going to come up into my farm sections here. I'm going to place a spruce trapdoor here and a composter on top, and I'll do that on the other side. Go, and in with our composter. And now we're going to start adding some lighting underneath carpets to the rest of this build. So the first carpet lighting is going here and here, and mirroring on the other side, and then I'll place my carpet going 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I'm doing this, I can start to break the torches that are around the place in the build as we're adding in lighting. I'm also going to add some carpet lights across this side. So I've got them here and here. Adding in my carpet, and again on this side. Now we've got our lever to be wary of, so I'm going to just place my carpet on either side here. And then I can grab out a yellow wool block to replace this block with, so everything blends in seamlessly. And of course you can add your lever back to here. Break that final torch, and you can see we're really starting to illuminate the space. Now we're going to add some decorations to these two sections. We want to make sure we have every single crafting block included in this space. This space is going to be our smithery room. So I'm going to start by placing in an anvil here. I'm going to add in some torches. I'm going to add in my smithing table here. And then one block over, I'll go in with my grindstone. Then I want to create some benches around this. And I'm using some spruce for this. And the last spruce stair. So all of your spruce stairs should be facing like this. I'm going to go with some barrels now for storage. Coming up and around in an L shape. I'm going to create a little shelf going over the top of here. And we're going to add in a little table here. I'm just using 2 trapdoors and 2 slabs. So here's how it should look. Now I need to start adding in some things on this side. So this is going to be where I have my maps and my loom. So we're going to start by creating some more storage by coming up around like this. I'll place in my 2 torches like we had on the other side. And then I'm going to create a little bench. So I'm going with a stair, a slab, and another stair. Like that. And on this side, I'll just place in a slab here and a slab here. So in this gap, I'm going to place in my cartography table. Over here, I'll place in my loom and a cauldron filled with water. And then I'm going to be placing in a brewing stand on top of this block here. I'm going to create another table that matches the one on the other side. You could add another brewing stand on top of this if you'd like. I'm going to place one in here. And then I'm going to create a little shelf going above here. A shelf coming across this way. And then I'll place one more barrel to fill in this gap. The last 2 blocks I like to consider general crafting blocks, so I'll be adding these in down by my chests. I'm going to place in a crafting table and a stone cutter, and I surround these with spruce trapdoors for a more finished look. And while I'm down here, I'll break in and add some frog lights and cover them up with some carpet. I can go ahead and break my final torches now. And look at the space. Let's add some furniture. I'm going to start by working on this side of the build. Now we don't have a bed placed in yet, and I'm going to hide these beds within some furniture. So I've got a white bed here. I'm going to turn it into a couch by adding trapdoors to the back and some signs to either side. There we go. I'm going to add a little coffee table beside it using some scaffolding. Then we're going to work on this section. I'm going to place in some spruce planks with an armor stand on top, and you can display your beautiful shiny enchanted armor that you enchanted over in your magical enchanting room. Then we're going to add in a little table. Now this is purely decorative. You could easily put something more functional here, but I think it's nice to have a balance between functionality and pretty blocks. Now I am going to need to break this carpet, and I'm going to use the same trick I did over here to place in a wool block, so I can place in my trapdoors to create a little table like this. I'm also going to use trapdoors for the backs of my seats, just clicking them so they flip up against my quartz slabs. So here's how the layout's looking. Next, we're going to build some furniture onto this side of the build. I'm going to add in 2 more bed couches like this, and I've got them placed on a diagonal. Going with my trapdoors, next to my signs. And there we go. I'm going to add in some scaffolding as a table, and then back here I'm going to add in a small library section. I'm I'm going to place in a lectern here and a little shelf. Like that. Now we also need to finish off this hallway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build across with my stone, filling in this whole gap. And you want to have your door open when you do this so that you can place them in behind here. I'm also going to come all the way along on that side, and on this side I'm just going to build one in from this piston and leave a gap, placing a stone block behind here, add a torch on top of that, and then I can fill in the roof. Make sure you fill in above your torch as well. When you shut your door, everything should have a nice clean look, and when it's open it should look nice too. Now you can also fill in this block, and we've got our corridor working perfectly. Now we've got all of the built elements into our space now. We've got all of our redstone contraptions made, we just need to add some decorations. So let's get adding those in. I'm just adding some finishing details to the space. I've added in some flowers into my pot plants, and now I'm going to go in and add in a few more stairs. I'm adding these to each of the little alcoves around the main section of the build. This will just finish off the look and tie in these sections with the curved beams we've got going on in the rest of the build. I've also got some enchanted armor that I've made over here on my magic enchanting table, and I'm going to add this to my armor stand. There we go. Let's have a look at how I've decorated the rest of the space. I've also turned on my shaders here so you can get a feel of the atmospheric nature of this space. Now you can see I've gone for a colour palette of greens and yellows. This ties in really well with the wall colours and the colour I've used on the carpet. Now keep in mind you could easily switch up the feeling of this space by switching out the green moss blocks in the wall for another material, or just switching out the carpet. There's so many colour combinations that work really well with this mossy green. You can see I've kept all of my decorations within this same colour palette, and I've used some item frames, banners and paintings to create artwork above the furnaces here. And on the opposite wall I've got a full art display. I've used item frames throughout the rest of the build to add in some artwork. You can see I've got them up here in these little rooms as well. And on this side too. If you'd like a tutorial on how to make these banners which I've used as decorations, check out the tutorial in the description down below. You can also see I've put some plants into my pot plants. Oh, and I've missed one flower over here. Let's put one in. For my flowers, I've stuck to a colour palette that matches with the rest of the decor. So I've got my yellows, whites and greens. And I think having lots of greenery down here really makes this base feel special, as it is an underground base, so the juxtaposition of lots of greenery and life is really special. If we head upstairs, or up the ladder really, you can see I've placed lots of decor on the shelves, and I've used sea pickles and eggs as my decorations. And if I peer over into the other section over there, you can see I've done a similar thing. Now it's up to you how much decor you add. One thing to keep in mind is that you can always add decor as you come across things on your travels. You could also use candles as decorations to place on your shelves, although I've got quite a lot of lighting and candles built into the rest of my space, so I've decided to stick to just these decorations for now. Another fun idea you could use when decorating this space, instead of going with a cohesive decor scheme like I have, is to dedicate one wall, perhaps this one here, to a treasure room sort of thing where you display all of your finds from your Minecrafting adventures. So you could put a dragon head up here, you might put some rare items like nether stars and heart of the sea, and kind of like a trophy wall to all of your adventures. However you decide to actually decorate this space, it's important to keep in mind that it's always a good idea when decorating to cover your walls in lots of decor and use items to really fill up the space. It makes it feel more lived in and homely.
So if we hoe our secret block right here, our door will open and we can walk in. Wild will follow me before I step on this pressure plate.
Hello, hello.
To our fully completed secret base that is beautifully decorated. We've got our enchantment table, our super smelter. We've got our valuables chest up here, which we added in our secret one behind here. And we even got our cow crushers and sheep crushers. And all the storage.
Oh, and don't forget about our smoker over here for making all the food.
Of course.
This base really does have everything you need for surviving in farms, redstone, everything.
Storage, everything, every type of table you'll ever need. So, on that note, that's going to be the end of this video. We hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and remember to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. And remember, stay carbonated.